Yeah, how many people are in here? I can't even see this shit. I don't know how this is like. I'm trying my...
What happened to other person's last waxing? We've already done it. We done 3 waxes. Goddess, I think you joined it just when I finished up waxing myself. I waxed my...
So he killed him. Hit a 66 on like 70.
Play during woodcutting. You be woodcutting to this music. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Please place your back. Many times are we good? Many times are we good? Many times are we good? Many times are we good?
Alright. So I'm completely new to building PCs, and all the videos I've watched on building with the godlike says you shouldn't be a beginner building PCs, but I'm gonna do it. So I've already got the motherboard out. I've already opened all the boxes to check everything. I just got the new PC case in because it won't fit in my other mid tower that I have. So now I'm just prepping everything. I'm gonna get the CPU put into the motherboard. The CPU that I have for this one is the Ryzen 7 9850 X3D. It was a bundle that I got on Newegg. So I got the motherboard, the MSI Meg Godlike, the X70E AMD. It came with this CPU and it came with 32 gigs of RAM. We're gonna load the CPU into this motherboard. Tight fit. Hope that's correct. If not, SOL. I'm going to go ahead and load the RAM into there. I've already pre-fitted into the computer to make sure that it'll. The PC case just to make sure that I'll have adequate room for cable management to be able to bring them through, because everything on this motherboard is actually on the top right through this easy bridge, and there's all the connections right there, so it actually sits at an angle on the motherboard rather than it being straight onto the motherboard like most are. We have two 16 gigabyte RAM sticks, DDR5, a Manta DDR5. These are going to go into slots 2 and 4. So A1 and B2. A2 and B2, I believe, actually. Right into the slot. try to keep everything clean here. Just for ease. Alright. And I've already started to pre-mount the power supply into the case because it's sitting at a different angle than what I'm used to whenever I did my PC build that I have currently. The power supply is underneath the case, and this one actually goes on the side closer to the top. There's a bunch of rat's nest cables coming through there, so I'll have to figure that out. Actually bring this over here. I'll be able to get it set down here. You won't be able to see inside, but we'll try to get a view of that. I actually have to take off the easy bridge. And a couple of these other components just to be able to get to where the screws go to mount the motherboard onto the case. The reason why I bought this motherboard as a beginner, instead of something else cheaper, because I like the looks of it, and it is also, for me, is going to be like a future-proofing thing. I didn't want to have to buy something that I'm going to have to end up replacing or upgrading later on. And I needed a new motherboard. The current one that I have does not support AM5 and it doesn't support DDR5 for the RAM. So it didn't make sense for me to upgrade those components inside the current PC. Just to be able to upgrade to kind of older hardware. Mounting screws. I don't know which ones I need. Just trying to line this up here so I can get these screws in. It's just a little bit tricky. That did not go in at all. I cannot use spacers in this where the motherboard actually rests because it would create too much of a gap for this to poke through. This is proving to be a little bit more difficult. I would hope. go at this different angle. I have to go at this different angle. I have to go at this different angle. I have to go at this different angle. This is not working well. This is not working well. This is not working well. All right. I think I'm gonna have to use a spacer of some sort. I'm gonna have to use a spacer of some sort. And then hopefully I'll be able to get this mounted. But at first the spacer wasn't working. So we'll see if I can get it to work. So we'll see if I can get it to work. So we'll see if I can get it to work. Okay, that'll work. So I'll have to put the spacers on here in order for me to screw it in. originally took all the spacers out. Now I gotta put them all back in. I originally took all the spacers out. Now I gotta put them all back in. This is part of it. Spacers out. Now I gotta put them all back in. This is part of it. Spacers out. Now I gotta put them all back in. This is part of it. If you're me. If you're me. If you're me. Now I gotta go back through and tighten them all down just to make sure, because the last thing that I would want is for this motherboard to not be secure in here, and then I have to spend another $1,100 on a motherboard. $1,100 on a motherboard. That is all tightened down. Now, theoretically, I should be able to secure the motherboard to the case. 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 There we go. I think that was the issue that I was running into earlier, just because it got kind of caught. I thought that maybe the spacers were causing the issue, and it was not. I just needed to jimmy it a little bit. That's it. Because now I can see all the spacers through the holes, and I should be able to get this mounted. It's crazy because this motherboard is an EATX motherboard, but this is one of the largest EATX motherboards you can get, so it would actually not fit in the case that I currently have. It would be way too close to where the fans are, so I wouldn't be able to get the cables through, so I had to order this case, and that's just fine. Because at least this one will hold it. I was a little bit skeptical at first as to whether everything, if this motherboard would actually fit in here, but it looks like I have ample room. And there's a cutout on the side and front of the fans where I can bring all the cables through. And there's also cutouts at the top for me to bring the cables through, which is going to help for the CPU power. one thing that's a little bit annoying is that the fan sits right in front of where the MSI Dragon is, so it's gonna kind of cover up a little bit of what I actually want to see from this motherboard. Spent enough money on it. I want to see all of the things that it has to offer, and that RGB Dragon on there was a main point for me. Obviously, along with all the specs on the motherboard itself. For everything that I do, I'm not going to need to upgrade my motherboard unless this one just completely stops working at something. I hope does not happen. So I'm a big fan of this motherboard. I'm not sure how far down these screws are supposed to go, but they're not sitting flush on the motherboard. And my luck, it's probably going to slide off the first chance that I stand this up. First time that I stand it up, I should say. So with me being a beginner, I watched a few videos on people installing this motherboard and doing a complete build, because I've never done a build with just parts. Everything that I've encountered has either been a pre-build or was just an all-together PC already that I didn't have to do anything to. This one, being that I'm putting all the pieces together myself, I don't know how it goes whenever you first turn it on, and I wanted to see what happens and understand what it is that I'm going to have to do. And as I've seen, it will first boot into BIOS. I'll have to make a couple of changes. I do already have a USB dongle or a USB drive to use to load Windows. I've already pre-purchased Windows 11 Pro. So I'm hoping that once I get all this together and I turn it on for the first time, that it will be a pretty easy, straightforward build. But if not, I will figure it out as I go. I am a senior network engineer by trade. Well, just a network engineer. Senior's just from how long I've been doing it. So I'm familiar with some computer aspects, but not fully. I deal more with the network side of the house than I do with the clients themselves. So this will be a learning experience for me. Alright. I do believe that I've got all of my screws tightened down and secured. Just gonna go back through and make sure. And then it seems like that's not moving anywhere. Time to move on to other pieces of this build. Everything is mounted in. I guess the next step would be to start plugging everything in. I will have to stop the stream at some point because the GPU that I'm using is actually the one that's in my computer, because I have upgraded from the 3060 Ti to the 5070. And that 5070 will go in here. I have no idea why they would have put all this together in such a way that it just looks like a complete rat's nest. But that is fixable. But that is very, very annoying. But that is very annoying. Start getting some of our cables ran for power. I'm not sure what of these I will need, so I'm just gonna put these over here. Because I bought a MSI 850 watt power supply, and it came with all the cables. So I guess what I'll do is put in most of these power cables, and then I will get the current PC turned off. I'll have to turn off the stream, and then get the GPU plugged into this computer, onto the motherboard, get it plugged into the display, and power it on, see what we can get. Alright. Wondering if I should have mounted this a different way, or if I want to keep it that way. It's not going to really make too much of a difference. Where's my ATX? So this MSI power supply, all of the cords that came with it are like this braided almost looking cords. So it feels nice, it looks nice. Maybe at some point I'll upgrade to RGB cords, but we'll see. It'd be nice to have. Not a necessity, but nice to have. So this will be the first part. Plugging in these cables. So let's see how it goes. Running it from the side where those fans are. This is gonna go right under where the easy bridge is. This is the ATX. And I need to get it pushed in there. I believe that's good. Alright. I need to get these other glass panels taken off. So I can see inside what I'm doing. Figure out how to get these panels off. While I break all my cords. Probably have to take this top piece off in order to get that off. These have to come off somehow. I just don't know how. Do I have to unscrew them? That's kind of annoying. also a lot of cables from the case itself that I do have to get plugged into the motherboard. So I will be doing that also. Okay, the CPU power is one that I need to get onto there. There we go. See the diagram of all the cables, because again, I am a beginner. I don't know exactly what all is what just by looking at it right now. I believe this is the CPU power cable. We're gonna go with that. See what happens. We're gonna go into CPU power 1, just because that makes the most sense to me. We'll run this through the top. We'll go through this other one. This is the side. I'm gonna leave that space for all the other cables because I know I'm gonna have more that I gotta plug in there. Gotta plug in the wrong side. This side has to go right here. Oh, these cables are marked. I couldn't see it on the tape. Now I can. Okay. CPU is plugged in. That's done. Alright, what else do we have here? SATA, don't need that one because I'm using 2 solid state drives until I upgrade to more solid state drives later. There's another CPU. Don't know what this is. See what it says on here. Peripheral cable. will need my 5070. So I guess I'll go ahead and stop stream here. So that way I can get my GPU out, get that cable plugged in, get everything else plugged into here, and hopefully get a working PC here with the next 6 hours. We'll see. 6 hours. All right.